again, it's time to keep drawing our rainforest animals, and this one is a bug. It's specifically a Goliath beetle, which lives in the rainforests of Africa. So, not the Amazon, but they are a rainforest bug. So, we're going to start with our general shapes, and because we're just starting with our general shapes, we need to remember to draw light until you get it right, which for these general shapes, you will be erasing them. So our beetle's going to start with an oval shape, and I've got my paper, I've got my paper very crooked, but we're going to deal with it. It's portrait, because our beetle is going to be portrait. So I'm going to have an oval in the middle, and this is going to be the general shape of our beetle's body. And the beetle's body is going to be split pretty much in half. So I'm going to have a very light circle. Right now it looks like an Easter egg. It will not look like an Easter egg afterwards. These lines should be so light. It should be like a little mouse is whispering what kind of lines you draw. That's how light we're going, because these are all going to get erased. But now that they're here, we're going to go ahead and put in our legs. Beetle is an insect, so it has 6 legs, and we've got our head, abdomen, and thorax. So the front 2 legs are going to be coming out of the abdomen, right above this middle line, and I'm just drawing where they're going to be for now. Whoop, like this. They're going a little out, up, and then out again. And on the other side, whoop, and you'll notice I have them up to the top of our Easter egg. Now the next legs are going to be on the bottom in the thorax. So we're going to have one that goes down and out, and it needs to go out pretty significantly because the other leg is going to go follow what the front legs did, but backwards. Whoop and whoop. If you need a pause and catch up on that step, do. So now our Easter egg looks like a bug, and we're going to start changing the shape to make it more like a Goliath beetle. So this is where you're going to start actually drawing our beetle. First, the beetle comes, it does stick along with that line, but it's going to be more of a diagonal, and it's going to go right past our egg on that diagonal. And then on the bottom, it's going to, let me make sure I'm actually lined up in the middle. I am. Okay, a little bit more like that. It's going to have 2 bumps right to the middle. Okay? If it helps, go ahead and draw a line in the middle of your bug. In fact, I think that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and all do that. Now our Easter egg has this line in the middle, and I can tell that I didn't quite make our bottom even. Okay. So, now we have the basic shape of our thorax so far, but as it comes up, it stops a little early and it curves in right there on either side, okay? And it's going to curve in and then down, in and then down. And this bug is symmetrical. So whatever you draw on one side, you're going to draw on the other. Now for our head and thorax, head and abdomen. This is going to be very different than what you've done before. So we've got this part right next to where the arm is in what you could call the insect's armpit is going to line up with that Easter egg we initially drew, but it's going to also curve in, so it gives them quite a gap on the sides, a visual gap rather. That you can go ahead and erase. Our first part of the egg is being erased. And then, instead of going up nicely in that egg, it's going to be a lot more steep. So it's going to curl up like that. I don't even know how to describe that line. It's like it's a baby bottle or a pacifier on the top. And I'm going to make it a bit more extreme. I want a smaller neck for our head. Okay, good. Go ahead and erase the part of the egg that you had before. Remember, since this is a video, please stop and pause and catch up. And then at the top of the head, we're going to have these little dingy little doodles They have an actual term. I think they're like the pincers or something like that for our beetle. And they're going to come out right on the top, curving out, flat on top, and in again. Okay? And then we have they're kind of like antennas that come out of the side of the head. And so that's going to have a wavy line ending in a teardrop on both sides. Wavy line ending in a teardrop on both sides. Okay, now let's actually separate our head from our abdomen. We're going to do that with a W shape that meets right in that line of symmetry that we drew earlier. And now let's beef out those arms before we go in and start adding in the beautiful markings of the Goliath beetle. This one's going to be a coloring job for you, by the way. So, first of all, Goliath is named as such because he is so big and so strong. So we need to make sure that his legs are very big and strong. So right up about where you find the antennae, I don't know what they are. I'm sorry. We need to get an entomologist on this to tell me. We're going to have a diagonal line that just cuts through. It's kind of like a sleeve. And we're going to use that. This is going to be as straight a line as you can muster. Down along the sides of our lines. Cut it off about where it's going to curve. And then have another line that has another diagonal. Cut through. And now we're going to put in the little hands. This is kind of fun because beetles, what they do, they stack triangles to make their ribbing on their legs. And so I normally know better animal anatomy than this. So go ahead and draw some upside down triangles and stack them. Oh, that's so cool. Joom. And then at the very end, it's like this letter Y that breaks off, and that's the little toes. Okay, so the front legs are done. The back legs are going to be essentially the same, so I'm going to talk a little less and draw a little faster, especially because you can pause to catch up. I'll still be talking because it's Mrs. Hendricks, and I don't not talk. But we've got our rectangles that come down. They taper just a little bit. And then we've got our stacking triangles. It looks like there is 3 again. 1, 2, 3 on each side. 1, 2, 3 on each side. And our letter Y for our letter toes. And then the back leg is going to be the same thing. Our little small rectangle on the sides. And our big tapered rectangle. Taper, by the way, means it's small on one side and gets bigger on the other. That's a taper. Okay, so big tapered rectangles down here. Okay, and then our 3 stacked triangles. Bam, 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 bam. 2 letter Y's. And our beetle is about done. So, now we're going to go ahead and add the amazing, beautiful details that make a Goliath beetle unique. So I'm going to start by erasing this line down here from our original Easter egg that we don't need anymore, and erasing this middle line from the Easter egg that we don't need anymore. So let's start at the bottom and move up, because it gets far more complex as you go up. The bottom of the beetle here is mostly red, except for this line. You'll want to make it thicker. And that line is going to be black. I am going to start telling you colors now. It does, if you want to be very detailed, have a teeny tiny sliver of white right in the middle, right there. But this whole section is red. Do I have a red? No. I'll see if I've got one later. The top up here is kind of wavy. Woo, woo, woo. Up until it actually pretty much right across. And so it's red with white in the wavy section. Now we come to this middle part of the small of their back, And you're going to go ahead and draw a curved line. I'm keeping this line of symmetry because, again, everything's symmetrical. But now I'm going to erase it and just use it in my memory. And we have very, very small white details. We have this triangle in the middle with two thin white lines on the side and one teeny white line on the bottom. The rest is black. For me, I'm coloring it purple because that's the color that I have. But for you, this would be a great project for a dark colored pencil or something like that. Black and white looks beautiful. If you happen to have charcoal at home, I've done beetles in charcoal before, and they are outstanding in charcoal. However, that's not a supply a lot of kids just randomly have. So colored pencil, crayon even would work. Just get those strongs, blacks and whites and the red, and your beetle's really going to pop. Okay, now back to our abdomen. When did you get erased? We have 5 white lines. The first one is here on the edge, okay, and it comes just a bit down. This is a big white section with 2 little black ovals. Because our beetle is symmetrical, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's on both sides. And then we've got another white area right here, so I'm drawing in these white areas first. And so I don't get confused, I'm going to color as I go. Nice, beautiful. Here's another white area. Oh, I drew that a bit wrong. Color as I go. Now I am not doing careful coloring techniques because I'm using a permanent marker, or not permanent, gosh, whiteboard marker. And then lastly, I'm going to erase my line of symmetry because the last white line is right down the middle. So go ahead and draw a white line right down the middle and color everything else. And this leaves our head, which is the last final thing. So the head has right up here, right on top of that white middle section, a tiny black triangle. And then it's got 2 tiny black triangles up here. And then the 4 things that are sticking off of the head, those are black. Oh, and our eyes. Our eyes are right here. So you'll want to make those very dark black. Maybe if you want to give it a little bit of a shine or a color, that's up to you and your creativity. So I'm going to go ahead and pause so I can color the extremities without the video going off time. Bam! He's done. So let's pull you closer. If you want to pause so you can make sure you get this just right, go ahead. But you'll see I colored all the legs and all of the little thingy-mabobs that come out of the face. And I marked red, red to remind you that's the color that they are. This is not colored. Ignore that. Okay, so I hope you had fun. The nice thing about the Goliath beetle is he doesn't look scary, does he? So if you're afraid of bugs, hopefully you're not afraid of this one. And I hope you had fun. Please show me your beetles. Bye!